All right, am I here? Testing, testing. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I think I am here, right? Yes, yes. Can you hear me? Is sound correct? Hi, good morning. Good morning. Hey, Andres, good morning. How are you doing? Alrighty. Woohoo! I have to warn everybody. I did have a tiny bit of real coffee this morning, so I'm super like, woo! I don't know what happened. I was preparing my decaf, and then like a tiny scoop of real coffee just like slipped in, and now I'm like all high and proactive. Dan Schiffman would not be proud of me. No. Lara Natalie, I think I've seen you before, right? You've been around before. Welcome again. How are you doing? Aye. Okay. Aye. What do we have for today? Are we doing good battery wise? Let me just pull up my notes. Um, you know how I have some notes about. I'm like super OCD person, so I have notes for everything. Um, So we have this. Am I recording? I am recording. Yes. And I have notes. Do I have notes? Where are the notes for my stream? Mm-mm-mm. Here they are. All right. And I don't have no. I have no notes for today. Not good. That's not good because then I start improvising and then anyway, we can probably figure something out. Because today's the day, finally, the day has come. It's the day of learning C Sharp. We're going to start learning C Sharp from scratch. Uh, Arasto, you're blue? What do you mean? Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. You are blue, exactly. Rodolfo, good morning. How are you doing? Or good afternoon. I don't know. I think Rodolfo is calling from a similar time zone, I believe. Where were you from, Rodolfo? Ecuador? Um, I forget. Sorry. Uh, how's everyone? Yes, C sharp. Woohoo! Boom, boom, boom. Today's the day where we start C sharp, learning how to. Blah, 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 blah. You see, this is what happens when I have too much coffee. This is the day where we're starting. Oh, Brazil. Oh, yeah. Sorry. We have a lot of people from Brazil in the community. It's great. I love Brazil. I had such a great time when I was there. Um, today is the day where we're learning C sharp from scratch. We are starting a series. I'll get to that in a second. Let me just keep welcoming people as they come, and let me write myself a few notes here um, about what I want to do, which is going to be. So that's going to be one. That's going to be another one. Talk about that one. I want to talk about that one. Hey Chandra, good morning. Welcome. Andres, Himia, Girai, welcome. How are you guys doing? Ooh, reminder. Discord. Discord. I'm going to do like Daniel Shipman. Discord, 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 Discord chance. So we have a Discord where we do offline conversations and we keep the conversation going on over the week. So if you're interested in this channel and what we do, feel welcome to join. And also, if you're here, maybe subscribe, hit the notification button, you know, those things. Hi, Ernesto. And then we're going to do here. All right. Hey, Albert. Yes, it's been a while. Where were you? What happened to you? Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so what time is it? It's 7 minutes past. I think we can probably start. Uh, that's also a GSD rule that we have. All classes have to start more or less 7 minutes after the point because architects are not very punctual. We are not very punctual. I used to be an architect. I am to a certain degree at some point. Still. Anyway, welcome everyone. Welcome to Parametric Camp. My name is Jose Luis. Many of you already know me. I teach computational design and technology courses at the Harvard University Graduate School of Design. And this is part of the live streams that I do to promote computational design literacy among designers, creative individuals, artists, architects, etc. And today I have a very exciting announcement. I'm going to start finally, after so much promising a full summer, I'm going to start finally a series on how to learn computer programming with C# from scratch. Okay. Part of the reason why I'm doing this is because I have been promising that I was going to do this for a very long time. So that's one thing. The second one is that I think it's important because I teach a lot of the videos that I record are using a lot of C# scripting, especially inside of Grasshopper. But I have never taken the time to actually explain fundamental concepts of C# programming. I kind of assumed that people were familiar with that, and so I want to finally record a series that people can go to, learn the basics, and then they can start doing more advanced stuff, which is part of what we do in other videos. And last but not least, why is this happening right now? I teach, as many of you know, I teach an Introduction to Computational Design course at the Design School here at Harvard. Actually, let me just post the link. Where is the link to that? And in that course, we learn a lot of Grasshopper, we learn a lot of especially C# programming and a lot of other things. If you're interested in checking that course out, I'm going to paste here a link to a playlist with all the lectures that I gave on that class last year. We open sourced all the lectures, and the community has had an amazing response to that publishing. I think there's already like 50,000 views on that playlist or something crazy. I did not expect such a warm welcome. But as you know, Harvard University is going full online this semester, which means that class is also going to be full online. So I thought it would be a good idea to use this forum and this channel to pre-record material that I could use as support for the workshops and for the teaching that I do in that class. And perhaps, why not? Maybe this could be helpful also for other people who are teaching similar things in other universities, in other environments, in other workshops, or people like you who might be just at home and wanted to learn more and better things so that you can be better at your job, be more creative, etc., etc. So I plan on recording this series because I will need that content as well as support material for my teaching at the GSD. Yep, and that's why it's happening like right now. Rami is like, yeah, finally the long-awaited videos. Yes, it is. It's happening, and it's happening soon. I may actually spend like a weekend, just like recording a ton of videos, and maybe I can get like the full playlist that I have in my mind recorded in like a weekend or two. I have a lot of teaching during the week, so I'm not entirely sure yet of what's going to happen with the streams. I don't know if I'm going to keep them on Fridays. I don't think I can because I teach on Friday mornings. I don't want to push them to Saturdays again because I want to have also like a little bit of a personal life on the weekends. I have Wednesdays off, but I typically have a lot of meetings on Wednesdays, so I don't know what I'm going to do yet. So I'm still thinking about that. And I have to say, speaking of the Intro to Computational Design class, I just met with the new group of teaching staff. So my teaching fellows, my teaching assistants, and student liaison. And I'm so excited. I'm very happy about the group and how the wonderful people that I'm going to have the chance to work with. I don't know. It's going to be amazing. Also, I mentioned before, since since I'm not going to be teaching in person in a classroom this year, my plan for publishing videos of the Intro to Computational Design class is going to be a little different this year. And what I plan on doing is I plan on creating a playlist where I'm going to publish the pre-recorded lectures that I plan to deliver in that course. I'm going to post also some of these C# videos wherever I think they should be inserted as part of the curriculum. And I also plan on publishing the main student presentation events that we're going to hold during that semester. I'm not planning on, for example, like publishing like our internal Zoom calls or like hands-on workshops or things like that. So that's going to be what the playlist for this year is going to look like. And do we have any other questions? And Kita, you are slacking off. You're welcome to follow those videos or this channel or whatever makes it more useful for you. So, um, so shall we start? Is that what we're doing? Okay, let me wrap my head around a little bit. Oh, and I have some videos pending to publish yet. I should be preparing those. I'm a little busy preparing my classes, so but you should see some of that happening sometime very soon. Okay. So how is this going to work? The playlist. I may actually record. I have to. Oh, let me write that down here. My intention is to make this first playlist to make it pure C# with nothing else on top. So I want to cover all the most important C# topics without Grasshopper, without any external environment. And once we got that ready, my plan is to create another playlist, which is going to be specifically C# within Grasshopper. And for that playlist, probably the first video I will explain that it's a prerequisite to have watched the previous series so that you know how to program in C#, and so that when we are in Grasshopper, we can go to the specifics of how things work there. And I want to follow that model because if at some point in the future I also record like a series of C# in Unity, C# in VVVV, C# in Dynamo, C# in whatever, then we can make those more self-contained. Otherwise, the list is going to get just like become humongous. How does that sound? What other playlists would you be interested in seeing? C# in what? Or maybe not C#, maybe what other playlists would you be interested in seeing at some point in the future? Can you let me know in the chat? All right, and what else? Okay, so also I forgot to mention we have 2 live streams today. So we have this one where we are right now. Did somebody say Python? Who said Python? Should we ban these people from the chat? Oh, plugins on Grasshopper. So definitely we're doing that, Ernesto, and that's going to be part of this playlist this second playlist that I'm talking about, like doing C# within Grasshopper. Or maybe it could be its own thing, specifically how to make a plugin. I think it should be part from the general C# in Grasshopper. It will be probably by the end of the playlist, like advanced topics or something like that. Q sharp? Q sharp? Is that even a thing? I had never heard of that. I'm googling that like right now. Well, there's Q as a programming system. No, Q sharp. Oh, there's Q sharp. Domain-specific programming language used for expressing quantum algorithms. Whoa, this is cool. Well, who said this? Jirai? Well, that would be extremely cool, but honestly, I didn't even know it existed, so I'm not sure if I'm ready yet to teach some tutorials on that. But I'm definitely taking a look at that. I have a friend who's really into quantum. Well, do you know her? Merritt Moore, Dr. Merritt Moore, the quantum ballerina. You should check her work out. It's really cool. Let me post a link to her Instagram. Where is she? Um, there you go. Oh, and for those of you who are more robotic inclined, we did a really cool project together about dancing with the robots. And she's right now doing a lot of videos on dancing ballet with a robot, an industrial robot that she has. It's really, really cool. Quantum architecture. Architects still disagree on the best way to draw a square. Yeah. All right. Yes, and I was saying today we have two live streams. This one in the morning, and we have another one in the afternoon at 2. I believe it's 2 p.m. my time. So I will just continue recording more videos. I want to get over with today. I think I want to get over with installing Visual Studio, writing a Hello program, a Hello World program, and like doing basic variables. And then this afternoon, I may want to get into flow control, so doing things such as conditional statements and for loops. That should be Arduino projects, machine learning. Yes, I want to do Arduino. Could be an easy one to do. I just don't know how I would do that. I guess I would need to have like find a special setup where I have a webcam on the Arduino right here, and then I can like switch to let's look at the Arduino, it's blinking, or something like that. That would not be very hard to do actually. Machine learning is a huge topic. I'm not going to get into that anytime soon. I still need to think about how to deliver that properly. And robotics, that I can definitely do. I like robotics a lot. All right, so shall we get busy? Is that what we're doing? Okay, so I may keep it a little thin this morning. I may just do like a 1 hour thing because I want to sit down. I haven't sat down yet and written like a good curriculum of what I want to cover, and I like planning things. So I may take some time to think a little bit of the curriculum and then go back to recording this afternoon. Hi BVR, how you doing? Welcome. All right, so okay, so let me start. The first thing we're going to record is what is C sharp? How can I explain that? Okay. All right. So, so let me explain. Yeah, what is C Sharp? Let me find something that I can bring in. Like a few tabs that I can. I'm looking at a few tabs that I can pull up to make like a quick intro. And I also want to talk about .NET versus NetCore, because that will be something very soon. For server, no, I don't want servers. Or, well, maybe I want servers, I don't know. The C# corner. Maybe I can talk a little bit about that. Maybe I can use this article. Yeah, that could work. All right. All right, Chandra. One book for me, Grasshopper Python. Can I write a book for Grasshopper Python and Grasshopper C# difference between variation programming? Well, I hope to do that with these videos, but writing a book is a very involved and very time-consuming process, which I don't really have time to do these days. I may do it at some point in the future, but for the time being, I want to focus on sharing knowledge and content through these videos. All right. So, okay, so I think we can probably start. This is going to be what is C#. Okay, this is going to be the first video. What do I want to say? I want to say it's a programming language developed by Microsoft. Now it's standard. It's very popular for Windows applications specifically. It's I would say it's mid-level. It's object-oriented, but it's typed, so it's somewhere in between. It's especially for Windows applications, but it has some applications also on servers. It's very popular as a scripting language in many applications, especially the ones that we deal with. Not as popular as Python, perhaps, but it is very popular. Python. Who said Python before? Arasto. And then point to, and why are we doing C#? That could be a good question to answer. Why are we doing C#? Because a lot of the tools that are typically involved in the workflows of design and 3D modeling are 3D modeling, especially have the possibility of C# scripting. For example, Grasshopper, Dynamo, Unity, VVVV. VVVV is really cool, by the way. I really want to do something on that. All right, let's start. All right, but first things first. What is C#? Actually, C# is a programming language, okay, and it was originally developed by Microsoft. And the original intention was to develop a framework that was good for developing Windows applications. All right. The language has evolved a lot since it was created, and there are many versions, and it belongs to what's called the .NET framework, which is a framework of systems and programming languages that compile to something that is a bit more lower level, which is called the Common Language Infrastructure. But that you don't really need to care about that. What's important about C# is that it's a very popular programming language for Windows applications. It has a lot of applications also on servers and backend stuff. And these days, it is evolving very rapidly to also be able to address other kinds of developments, especially non-Windows applications and command line applications. I am choosing C# to start with because C# is also a very common and very popular scripting programming language for a lot of the workflows that are involved in typical CAD environments or typical creative environments. So for example, you can script with C# in Grasshopper, in Dynamo. You can script with C# in Unity, which is a very popular video game and development framework, or with VVVV, which is a visual programming editor for interactive installations, and it's a really cool project. So what's interesting about C# is that I find it a mid-level programming language, which means it's not as low level as other languages such as assembly, machine language, or C, or even C++. So it's a bit higher level than that. It is object-oriented, which means that it allows you to create classes and objects and structs, which is a it's probably like the best feature and a really popular feature among modern programming languages. Yet, it's not as high level as JavaScript or Python, so it still requires you, it's very strongly typed, and it's very constrained in what you can do. So I find it a very good introductory language because it forces you to think about data types and to name things properly and to type things properly. And then it's also very easy to develop with because while you're developing it, because of the strongly typed nature of the language, things either work or don't work, and you know that before even running a program. As opposed to other high-level languages like Python or JavaScript, where sometimes because they're so flexible and they're so everything goes, sometimes it's much more difficult to find where a problem is coming from or why certain things do not work. So I have chosen C# again because it integrates really well with the typical tools that I use, especially for 3D modeling environments as well, and because I believe it's a pretty decent introductory language. If you learn C#, you're going to be at a mid-level, so going higher level is going to be super easy for you. And if you want to go lower level, then it's just only going to be about learning a lot of concepts that are more CS related or computer science related. So it would mean that you're probably very interested in the actual in the actual techniques that are typically found in computer science. Where can we find information about C#? The main documentation is maintained by Microsoft, so you can go here to find the reference and to find what's new for each edition and each version. Also, obviously, Stack Overflow. I barely ever look here at all. When I have a C# question, I just type how do you do so-and-so in C#? And there's always a Stack Overflow question that helps you with that. But if you want to read a little bit more, there's a really good introduction here by Microsoft, which explains what the language is and where it's coming from and the architecture of the framework. All right. Also, very interestingly, something that is happening right now as I'm recording this video, this is the summer of 2020. These days, there has been a really strong push to what's called the .NetCore Framework, which is opposed to the .NET Framework. .NET Framework is basically for Windows applications, whereas .NET Core tries to be a bit more generic and tries to be a scripting language that can be used in any platform, and that includes Mac, Linux, and many other environments. So there is this transitioning right now. So I expect that if you're watching this from the very far future, .NET Framework will probably be obsolete by then, and .NET Core will have probably taken over. We're not there yet as of this recording. So that's why I'm going to focus on these videos on the .NET Framework, because that's what we will be using to develop plugins and to develop scripts that integrate with other workflows and with other softwares that we are interested in this community of computational design. Okay? So let's see what do we need to install in order to start writing some C# code. Good. That was the first video. So BVR, what's going on about links on Discord? So remember that I believe only myself, only me can post links on Discord. I believe only I can post links on the chat window here on YouTube. So if you're interested in sharing things with the community, just go to the Discord and go to the live channel, and you can post comments there, you can post links, etc. All right, what is the next video we're going to do? We're going to do installing Visual Studio. What does that look like? Visual Studio Code. All right. Okay, so this is going to be the second video is going to be installing Visual Studio. So I want to go here and I want to download Visual Studio Community Edition. You may have to sign up for an account. Should I do this? Let me start. Let me download this and then let me open it so you can see what it will look like. I don't want to uninstall it because it's just a pain in the ass. But it will prompt me. Okay. It will prompt me for this, installing stuff, fetching your files. Okay, I'm going to take a screenshot of that. What's going on in the chat? Chandra, what are all those retracted messages? Huh. Okay, we're getting ready to go. Okay. I do not want to update anything. Nope. Install Visual Studio Community, build tools, that's fine. This is weird. This used to come with also Unity and F# and like a lot of I hope I'm not gonna break this. That would be terrible. This is what I yeah, exactly. This is what I wanted. Okay. Let me look at some files from last year. I had installing learning C#, like things that you need to take care of. Okay, this is create a new project. All right. Alrighty. Okay, so I think we're good. Your video about C# series is really useful. Do I have a video on C# setup? I did. I think I actually, that was homework. I sent them like I sent students like a tutorial with a PDF. Huh. That's the class I'm waiting for, learning the basics about C#. This is great, but the sound isn't good and the videos takes too long. Yeah, I want to make the videos a bit more focused here, because when you're in class, you take a bit more time to explain things, and also on YouTube you can fast forward things. You can play videos at 2 times the speed. Um, yeah. Okay. All right. So let's do this. And now, well, wait. So if I open Visual Studio, I should be getting this window, and I should be getting this. Oh, where did everybody want? Ah, there you go. I should be getting this, and then here you can create a new project, and in new project we can have here. Do I not have Grasshopper plugins as a template? That's strange. Oh no, because this laptop is new. Ah, yeah, because I've never done this with this laptop. Okay, and then console application, and then next, and blah blah blah. Okay. All right, so I think we should be good. Let's do this. All right, we're ready to start learning how to write C# code, but the first thing we need is to install something that we can use to write C# code and to run it. Okay, so that's going to be an IDE, an integrated development environment, which is something that you will always find for any programming language that you want to learn. Any new programming language will have people with strong opinions about what is the best IDE, the development environment that you can use to write that programming language. In the case of C#, my preference is going to be to use Visual Studio, which is a development environment that is maintained by Microsoft. And I want to make a very strong difference because these days, as of this recording, there's 2 flavors of that. There's Visual Studio, which is the original Windows-based full-fledged development environment for writing Windows applications. And then there's this new thing that has gotten really, really popular in the last couple of years, which is Visual Studio Code. They are very different, okay? I use both all the time, even though Visual Studio Code is a more general cross-platform and cross-language tool that is very useful for many other programming languages. So actually, I use Visual Studio Code a lot when I write, for example, JavaScript or when I write Python. However, when I write Windows applications or when I write, for example, Grasshopper plugins or Dynamo libraries, I use Visual Studio at this point. This may change in the future if you are already transitioning from .NET Framework to .NET Core. I believe .NET Core will be very popular as a development environment inside Visual Studio Code. So we're going to choose Visual Studio, all right? And then we're going to download Community, whatever year you are in. Community is the free version that has all the basic features and that has nothing really that you need to, that has no constraints or no time limits. So what you're going to do is you're going to click here, and then you're going to download this file that is going to prompt. So where is that prompt? Here. So you're going to download this, and when you're going to download it, you're going to double click, and when you do, it's going to start downloading and installing like a few installers, and then this window will pop up. It won't look like this. What it will, it looks like this because I already have Visual Studio in my system. But it will look different. It will show whether you want to install Visual Studio Community, blah, blah, blah. And what it will look like, it will give you some options, such as, and it will look more closely like this. So it will ask you what components would you like to install in order to use Visual Studio. For the sake of this series of tutorials and for the sake of just C#, what I would like you is to deactivate everything, all right? And then I will ask you to install the .NET Desktop Development Framework, okay? You don't need C++, you don't need mobile, you don't need Universal Windows, etc. And just in case, if you want it in the future, and if you think you might be interested in developing video games or developing 3D navigatable environments, you may want to consider installing Unity, which is now distributed as part of the package, okay? But no need to install C++ or any other component that you might see here, all right? So you're gonna click on .NET development, and maybe if you want on Unity, and then you're going to install everything, all right? And once you install and everything and say yes to all the parameters, etc., then you will be able to fire Visual Studio, and then this window will pop up. I believe you will be asked to choose a theme for your Visual Studio. It will ask you whether if you want to choose a light theme or a dark theme. Light themes are great, but pros and people who care about their vision and how tired your eyes get, they typically use dark themes. It's just better, much better for your eyes. So I highly recommend that you use a dark theme, which is how I'm going to be using my Visual Studio. All right. I'm also a minimalist. You'll see that I'm always wearing black, so I guess that's is part of the thing. Now, this is going to be the main landing screen. I have here a bunch of projects that I work or that I have been working on. But for you, this part will be empty. And then what you will be prompted will be to create a new project, right? So this is what we're going to click on. And then you're going to have here a bunch of options about templates that you can use to create new projects. For most of this series of tutorials, we're going to develop console applications. Console applications are going to be applications that can be run from a terminal. And I will show you techniques on how to do that. And only by the end, I will get into other topics such as developing libraries or dynamic link libraries, so DLLs, pieces of code that you can plug in and reuse in other environments, or maybe even standalone applications. I'm not sure if I will get there, but why not? But console applications are the easier ones and the fastest one to start learning with. So we're going to click on console application, .NET Framework. That's not the core. .NET Standard. No, this is not the one. Where are you? Here. Window. No, this is not the one either. Where is this? Console app. Sorry, let me just go search it here. Console. A console application in C# and in the .NET Framework. This is what we want. All right. So I'm going to double click here, and I'm going to give it some name. For example, my first console application. I'm going to find somewhere where to save these files. For example, I'm just going to drop it on my desktop, right? And then this is the name, and it will be the version of the framework that you can choose. We don't need to care about that. Just choose whatever the default is. And I'm going to create. What this will do is that it will start a new folder with a lot of files, which are the solution that I am created. C# projects with all the files and all the possible things that it have are typically referred to as solutions, all right? And you can see, if I go to my desktop, you can see that here in my first console app, I have the main solution file, I have some hidden files that I need to take care of, and I have all the files that are part of the solution here, which I will explain over the course of these tutorials what these mean. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm zooming by pressing the Control key on my keyboard and by rolling my wheel mouse. so I can zoom in and out. So I'm going to zoom in so that you guys can see better what I'm doing. And that's it. So the environment is ready and we are ready to write some code. So let me move on to the next video where we're going to write our first simple program, a hello world program. All right. Our code, yes, exactly. Black t-shirt, minimalism, architect. You just cannot run away from it. No matter how much I try, I just cannot. Black clothing, um, designer shoes, designer watches. I like them a lot, and nice pencils. Yeah, I just and Moleskine notebooks. I no matter how much code I write, I still like that as architecture. Grasshopper tutorials. Setting this up with Visual Studio Code, it's a little different, but because at the end of the day, I will want to be compiling libraries and compiling other things. I want to stick to Visual Studio World, but it is true that Visual Studio Code is actually getting way better at these things. So maybe these videos in Visual Studio will be obsolete very soon. But for the sake of these tutorials, I'm gonna stick to Visual Studio. Nice glasses. Thank you, Fernando. The fountain pen. Absolutely right. No, no. Our code like dot grid moleskins. No, like just plain white. No dots. No lines. No. Oh my God. No dot grid. Are you guys crazy? This is no. Can we please ban these people from the chat? Dot grids? No, just plain white. Like you see, perfectly white. Like nothing. You know, it's like. Oh my God, no lines. Exactly. No lines. No. Oh my God, no. Dot grid. No, I don't want to hear that. Please. Where are these people? Where do they learn these bad habits? Oh my God, you know I'm joking, right? Everybody knows I'm joking, right? Okay. Um, so where were we? Okay. Hello world. Let me. Oh, I could have shown Visual Studio Code actually, because I have it here. Actually, this is what I write my notes on. If you guys are ever curious, I write them in Visual Studio with Markdown. All right. So, hello world program. Wonderful. Let's write our first computer program. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this, but it's a very common habit to teach programming languages by having the first exercise be this thing called writing a hello world program. A hello world program is typically the simplest program that you can write with any computer programming language, and it's a program that writes a message of the type with the text "Hello World" that writes a message to something that is called the console. And very typically, all development environments like Visual Studio and any other that you might find have this area somewhere called the console where you can display text messages. It's typically not the main area, so if it's a browser, then it's not going to be on the website. If it's a processing screen, it's not going to be on the screen. It's this like side window. It's like a side monitor kind of situation where you can have messages that that you can use to display information about the status of the program. Okay, so how does that work in C Sharp? In C Sharp, in a console application, because we're writing console applications, we don't have a console anywhere yet here, but the console will pop up as we execute the program. So what I'm going to ask you to do, I will explain in the next video what all these things are. So all this stuff here, this area here. I will get to that in a second, but let's get our fingers dirty. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside this thing called static void blah 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 and the two curly brackets here. I'm going to enter a new line so that I can write code inside of those two curly brackets. And then here what I'm going to do is I'm going to type the uppercase console word, you see, and I'm going to type dot, and then you can see that I get this pop-up with this drop-down with a bunch of options of things that I can, methods that I can use inside of the console object. Don't worry about this, I will explain what all this means through the course of these tutorials, okay? So I just want to get something going, so I would like you guys to type here write line. So you see how I start writing and I get an autocomplete. I'm going to choose write line. I'm going to open parentheses, okay? And then inside of the parentheses, I am going to type the message that I want to write. So that's going to be hello world, like this. However, and then I'm going to finish this line with a semicolon. However, there's a small thing that I need to remember, and it is that text in C# is typically represented inside of double quotes. So because what I want to print is a message, a text message, that message, hello world, and the exclamation sign has to be inside double quotes. This is a C# thing, okay? And that's it. That's the only thing that I need to write in order to write a message inside of the console application, inside of the console. Now here, I can go all the way up here to the button that says start. And this is the main button that I will use to initiate this program. So as I click start, something is happening in the background. There is some compilation here in this area on my back, right? And then, you didn't really see it because it showed up on my side screen here. Let me see if I can capture that. I cannot capture that. Let me change screens so that you can actually, hold on a second. Yes, so let me switch screens. I'm going to switch here, all right? And then if I do this, all right. Okay, so yeah, going back. I had my finger like this, right? This is what I had. Yeah, at least we all agree that we don't like lines. All right. Okay, I have switched to my side screen now. So you can see now that if I hit start, what happens is that this console application pops up real fast, like this window with the console, but then it goes away real fast. That's because my program, which now has only one line of code, writing this to the console, executes very fast, and then when the program is done executing all the instructions that I gave it, then it shuts down the console window automatically. So in C# there is a small trick, which is in order to stop that program or stop that window from shutting down, it's a very common technique is to add this thing here, console.read key, and then I open and I close parentheses and I add a semicolon, which is basically a request from the user to press a key on the keyboard to continue the program. All right, so if I now run this code and I press start, you can see that this window pops up and that I have my hello world message here. Can I make this bigger? Yes, I have my hello world message here, and the console application is right now waiting for me to press a key. So as soon as I press my key, then the window stops and the program shuts down, which is a very typical way of writing while you're developing and learning, to always have like a last line console.read key, just for the sake of stopping the program and being able to see what you just did. All right, so this was our first program, a hello world program. So now you know the basics of how to write a tiny bit of code, have the program execute, see the result of that program, and then shut down that program using C#. All right. I know that there's a ton of stuff that we don't understand here yet, but that's what I'm going to get to over the course of this series. All right. Before we move on into learning the first basic concept that I would like to explain today, let me explain. Let me give you a really, really quick overview of what are we seeing everywhere here on this screen. All right. Yes, Chandra, I did drink some coffee today. So that's why I'm a little high. All right, so if I do this, is this going to be a problem? So if I do this, yes, this always opens on here. That kind of sucks. I don't like that. Because like, if I'm going to be recording this, it's always going to open on my side. And I'm going to have to be dragging this inside here. That is not great. How can I fix that? All right. Visual Studio, have console window show up on secondary monitor. Secondary screen. You see, there's always a Stack Overflow question. Have start the solution, click in the top left corner, choose properties, and go uncheck let system position window. Push OK. Oh, I like that. Start the solution, the console. Click in the top left corner of the top solution, properties, and options. Where is that? Layout tab. Let system position the window. So if I stop that, now if I click start, boom! God bless Stack Overflow and everybody who contributes there. Let me, boom, boom, thank you. All right, so now the problem is gone. Yes, Grasshopper. I was thinking of doing that, but that would lead to so many other problems with the stream that I just didn't want to get into that mess. So it looks like this works. So we're gonna keep that. Cool. Is this something that I should mention on the video? Is this a problem for folks? Boom, boom. Can we write an emoji with something exploding? Boom, boom. Okay, so that worked. Okay, so what are we doing next? We are explaining the interface. So I would like to explain a little bit like an overview of this. Yeah, so let me just talk about what I just did. Let me just talk about what I just did, because that could be helpful for other people. So yeah, so let me start this. Let me bring this back to layout. Let position system. Okay. All right, and let me just add this bit to the previous video. Okay. Before I move on to the next video, let me explain something that I just discovered as I was recording this video and that you might find helpful as well. I was having this problem where I'm using two screens. So my main screen is my laptop, which is right here, and the secondary screen is the one that I'm looking at right now. And because my main screen, my first one, is the laptop, the problem that I was having is that anytime I started this application, the console window was popping up on my laptop screen, and then I would have to drag it all the way here to see it in the main screen that I'm using. If you're running into that problem, you have two options. You either switch which screen is the main one and the second one, or you do this tiny trick, which is you go here, you go to properties, and then you go to layout, and you deactivate this option, let system position your window. What that will do is that the window will always pop up wherever you last left it, you know? So, yes, exactly. So it will always pop up where you last have it. So this is really helpful for me, especially recording these streams. And if you're watching this, you probably have YouTube somewhere on a screen, and you probably have C# and Visual Studio on the other screen. So I think this could also be helpful for you. Nice. I love emoji life. Uh, anything emoji related? Boom. I love it. Um, oh wow, Unity. Damn, the one time I'm late. Oh no, this is not Unity, it's Sujay. We're starting with plain C#. Don't worry, it's Visual Studio. All right. So what? Yes, interface. We were doing interface. Um, all right. Okay. Before we start learning any more stuff, what is this interface? There's a lot of stuff here, and it's going to take us some time to unpack really what everything means. But I want to give you like a very high-level overview of what we're looking at. Visual Studio is this really large window, and it has a lot of options about managing your project, tools, different ways of doing debugging, testing, etc. So those you will find here. Then the main area where you probably will be working a lot will be here, whether if you are working on code that is meant to be debugged, so you have debugging tools when you run it, or whether if it's code that is meant for release, so when you're done writing your plugin, your whatever, you hit release, and then you export the final code, which is more optimized than a code that is designed to be debugged, because it has like many more optimizations. Obviously, there's this button. This button is the most important one because it's the one that you will be hitting all the time to execute your program. And I forget if I think it's the shortcut for start is F5 on my Windows machine. So you can either press the button here to start whichever program you're working on, or you can press F5. Now, within the window, you have the main window here. This main window will be displaying whichever code files you're working on, and you can switch between those code files in this area here, which is the Solution Explorer. The Solution Explorer gives you access to all the C# code files that you may have. Right now we only have one, but it's very common here to have like a lot of folders. You can even have like several projects within the same solution. I will get to that farther down in these tutorials, and you can manage certain things about the project. It's very common to want to go to properties, right? And then here in properties, just like open, oops, in properties here, it's very common to, right click on the project and hit properties. It's very common to change certain things about the project. So maybe the name, maybe the version of the framework that you're working on. Maybe you want to have special actions happen when you're building your code. Building means taking the text and wrapping it up so that it can become executable. Also, for debugging purposes, you may want to. There are a lot of things that you can customize here. So basically, for a project, the properties will always be under the name of the project, right click, and properties all the way here. You will have your main file. So the file that we're working on right now is program.cs. CS stands for C#. Okay, and because we're running a very simple console application, we only have one file. But again, it's very common to have a lot of folders here with subfiles and to have files reference each other. And then in our main C# program for our console application, we have a lot of stuff here that came bundled with this template that we selected for a console application. I'm not going to get too much into the details, but I just want to make sure that you understand that first, this part here are the references that we are bringing in to our code so that we can already start working with code that exists as part of the .NET framework. So for example, as you can see, there are lists, there are threading, there is stuff to work with text, which we are not using right now because it's grayed out, but we are using the system library. The system library is the one that, for example, contains the console object. We have access to the console because it's part of what the system library gives us. This will be very useful in the future because if you want to bring a library from someone else, like a geometry kernel or like something that helps you parse JSON files, something like that, you will first bring this file into your project. You will reference that file here, and I will teach you how to do that in the future. And then here you will type using, for example, Machina, which I hear is a very cool library for robot programming and control. I guess I wonder who wrote that, huh? But I will teach you how to use this in the future. Then here we have a couple things. We have something called the namespace. The namespace is basically how to categorize where code is by giving it namespaces or giving it names. And then inside of this, there's this thing called a class called program. We're not going to get into that yet, but sufficient to say that console applications need to have a base class called program that needs to have a static method called main that may accept as an array of text arguments. We don't need to get into what that means yet. I will explain that over the course of the tutorial. But what I want you to take away from this is that whenever you write code in simple console applications, you start the template, as I explained in the video before. You will have all this code available for you as well. And the only thing that you need to do is to write your code inside the main static void function right here. All right. And I will teach you over the course of these lists how to write even more functions and supplementary code that you can use inside here. All right. And I think that's it for right now. So I think as a general introduction, we are good to start now learning to actually write computer code and the fundamentals of how that works. All right. Alrighty. Okay. Yeah, I believe modern versions of Unity actually use Visual Studio as the development environment. So, because like back when I used to use Unity back in the times, it used this thing called monodevelop. I don't think that's a thing anymore. I think you now have to install Visual Studio and it integrates back and forth with Unity. So I think that's where you are seeing the confusion. It's not that Unity looks like Visual Studio. It's that Unity actually uses Visual Studio as a development environment. Your development environment is in German. Honestly, I'm not sure how to change that, but I'm sure that's a fairly Googleable thing. Yeah, and I think this is going to be for today, for this morning. I'm going to record a video, like an introductory video to the series, to the playlist, but I need to spend some time sitting down and writing myself a script of which things I need to cover, when they need to be explained, etc. So that's going to take me a little bit of time. So let me just record like a quick, what are we doing here, etc. And then I'm going to stop the stream for today, for this morning, and then I will see you on the stream this afternoon at 2 p.m. Boston time. So I'm going to record an intro video to the playlist. I'm going to do some social and some Q&A, and then I will be back in the afternoon for more. And we're going to start with the simple things, variables, simple arithmetic, and that kind of stuff. Okay? To build a software as a service, C# is required. You can write software as a service in many different platforms and many different environments. C# can be one, but you can do that with many other programming languages or combinations of tech stack. Tech stack, technology stack is a common term that is referred to the architecture of different applications written perhaps in different programming languages that talk to each other in order to give you a service. All right. Typically, when you use applications, online servers, etc., they're not written as one single program in one single programming language. Typically, they're written in like many. They have like a lot of different pieces that talk to each other. Typically written in different programming languages. So C# could be one of them, but it's not typically just one application, you know, unless you download software. Software is typically written in one language with one with one framework. All right, so quick intro video. Hi, how are you doing? My name is Jose Luis, and I lead. My name is Jose Luis, and what? What do I do? Who am I? I was going to say something about parametric camp, but yeah, I should say something about parametric camp. All right, let me start over again. Hi, welcome. My name is Jose Luis, and I run this YouTube channel called Parametric Camp, where we do a lot of computational design, and I write a lot of tutorials about different aspects of computational design, and a lot of live streams. And I am currently starting a new series on how to learn and how to write C# applications, how to learn how to code using C#. So what you're seeing on this playlist is a work in progress series where I'm going to teach you how to code, and I'm going to do that from scratch, and I'm going to use C# as the programming language for the reasons that I will explain in the first introductory videos, all right? Hopefully, this will be the first series on a series of series where I will not only explain how to write C# code from scratch without connecting it to anything else, but also I will start recording more series afterwards where assuming that you already know how to write C# code, now we can learn how to do that inside of Grasshopper, or to develop Grasshopper plugins inside of Dynamo, and to develop Dynamo plugins inside of Unity, and to develop Unity video games or other environments that use C# scripting. Again, this is very work in progress, so if you're watching this video, it means that I'm not done with the series. So stay tuned, and if you like what you're seeing, please subscribe and hit the notification button so that you can be up to date when we publish new videos to this playlist. And I hope this is helpful for you. Thank you. See you on the videos. Wonderful. So I am done for today. Not for today. For this morning. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take lunch. I'm going to plan what I want to record. I'm going to have like a more serious recording session this afternoon. Variables, arithmetic, simple operations, and maybe some flow control. If I have time this weekend, I may open up another session. Either not Saturday morning. I'm going scuba diving tomorrow night. How awesome is that? And maybe on Sunday. Maybe I can spend some time Sunday writing more videos, and I have time for. I have 5 minutes for some Q&A. If any of you have questions, want to chat about anything. Is there anything going on Discord? Oh, there's a lot of people joining, and but yes. Otherwise, if you don't have any questions or you don't want to chat about anything, I will see you in about 3 hours. So at 2 p.m. Boston time. All right. Thank you, Fernando. Thank you for your nice words. All right. Wait, I was recording, right? Yes, I was recording. All right. When do you think you'll get to developing classes? What do you mean, Arasto? You mean like object-oriented programming? If you, yes, I will get to that. Probably by the by the last. It will be the last part. It will be the last part of. It will be by the middle, by the advanced middle of the series. I want to get to the basic stuff first, and then I will want to get into classes by the end. Also, I will want to get on structs, and then I would want to do some exercises around that, like for example, creating a point class, a vector class. That would be super interesting, and that will probably be the end of the series, because I may want to touch upon more advanced topics, such as, for example, polymorphism, inheritance, interfacing, that kind of stuff. But I'm not sure if that would be videos that I will add to the end of the list, or videos that I will make. Maybe I can make like a new playlist, like advanced topics on C# programming or something like that. Huh. Lara, some book recommendations for beginners in robotics? No. I'm sorry, I do not. That I've actually been meaning to write that book myself at some point, but I also don't have the time. So, yeah, not sure about a good book for beginners. But I'll keep that in mind, because like there should be something, definitely. And probably when you say robotics, you mean industrial robotic arms. You don't mean general robotics, right? Okay. Yes, Sujay, we all do. We all have a lot of homework. I have a lot of homework. I have to record these videos, you know? All right. I'm going to take off. I'm going to have lunch, and then I'm going to start thinking about the curriculum of this series, and then I'll see you folks back at 2 p.m. my time. All right? So 2 p.m. Eastern time, Boston time. Thank you. Have a good one. See you later.